Good evening, everyone. We'll go ahead and call this informal commission meeting to order on November 4th, 2024. And we don't have anybody that has signed up to speak this evening, but we do have some presentations. All right, first thing we have is our VSO 80th Anniversary Proclamation. Do we have Hector Santos in the room? Bring him down, sir. We'd like to embarrass as many people as possible at one time. I do want to thank each and every one of you for coming out. I don't know if everybody is aware, but we have an amazing VSO office, a VSO team. It is the biggest in the state of Tennessee. There are some other counties that are trying to catch up with us, but they haven't done so yet. And I've gone to other places and met with other counties. For the number of veterans that we have here in Montgomery County, these folks here make sure that they're getting all their needs met. And they don't care if they're coming from other counties. They're going to take care of them because our mission here is to take care of veterans. And thank each and every one of you for what you do. I better get to reading. Whereas in January 1944, a spokesman from the local post of the American Legion called attention to the court of the increasing work in the preparation and handling of claims of ex-servicemen, as well as their widows and dependents, versus the U.S. government. They asked for an appropriation in the amount of $600 from the county with a joint match from the city for the purpose of establishing an ex-servicemen's bureau. And whereas the ex-servicemen's bureau was established and became part of Montgomery County Government, where a paid position was established to provide preparation and handling of claims, the American Legion Post 7 continued paying for office space, office supplies, postage, telephone, and equipment until 1991. And whereas in November of 1994, Montgomery County, by resolution, established an ex-servicemen's bureau committee, and in February of 1995, the name was changed to the Veteran Service Organization to better familiarize the general public of its purpose. And whereas today, the Veteran Service Organization, VSO, has evolved in Montgomery County, currently employing a staff of 10, which includes 8 benefits officers and 2 office coordinators. Over the course of the past 80 years, a total of 40 staff members have been employed. And whereas the VSO provides veterans with assistance in applying for benefits to include disability compensation, non-service connected pension survivor benefits, GI Bill and other educational benefits, vocational rehabilitation, appeals, and retrieval of military service and discharge records. And whereas in 2024, the Montgomery County Veteran Service Organization's staff members assisted 12,018 veterans through VA compensable benefits. Veterans living in Montgomery County received $617,448,000 in 2024. Now, therefore, I, Wes Golden, Mayor of Montgomery County, Tennessee, do hereby honor and congratulate our Veteran Service Organization upon celebrating its 80th anniversary, an extraordinary organization of service-minded individuals striving to assist those individuals and families who have sacrificed for the freedoms we all enjoy today. Thank you, VSO, and keep up the great work. God bless y'all. So I do think we're doing things right when we have more positive presentations than we do resolutions in the evening. So this next one was brought to my attention by Austin P. And I would like to ask Dr. Thompson to come on down here, please. All right. So we'd like to recognize those folks in our community that step up and go above and beyond. So whereas National Radiological Technology Week is an annual celebration to recognize the vital work of medical imaging and radiation therapy professionals each year and commemorate the discovery of the X-ray in 1895, and whereas Dr. Jennifer L. Thompson is a professor and program director in Austin Peay State University's Department of Allied Health Sciences, specializing in radiological technology, and has been a radiologic technologist for more than 15 years. And whereas in 2019, Governor Bill Lee appointed Dr. Thompson to Tennessee's Board of Radiological Imaging and Radiation Therapy, a body created to develop stricter state licensing requirements for radiologic technologists. And whereas focusing on the value of collaboration, in 2021, she helped launch interdisciplinary simulation exercises for Austin Peay's radiography and nursing programs, where inside a lab, fictional medical scenarios play out and students must respond to whatever occurs. And whereas over the last year, Dr. Thompson has won 3 of the 4 national awards in her field. It's pretty awesome. The American Registry of Radiologic Technologists Gold Standard Award in 2023, being chosen from over 400,000 technologists in the United States. The American Society of Radiological Technologists Advocacy Award for her work in Tennessee and beyond to protect the profession, and a Distinguished Author Award in honor of radiation therapist Harold Silverman. And whereas she has also been selected to sit for her first tenure on the American Society of Radiologic Technologists Board of Directors as secretary for the 24-25 term, and whereas she has spoken nationally in multiple states to advocate and elevate the medical imaging and radiation therapy profession and to enhance the quality of safety of patient care. Now, therefore, I, West Golden, Mayor of Montgomery County, and on behalf of the citizens of this community, do hereby recognize Dr. Jennifer L. Thompson and her outstanding work and dedication to her field and the betterment of patient care, and recognize November 3rd through the 9th, 2024 as National Radiologic Technology Week. I'm going to ask my friend Linda to come on down here, Dr. Linda Rudolph. Heavily involved in our community for a long time, and it is an honor to honor you today. So whereas Dr. Linda B. Rudolph, a resident of Clarksville, Tennessee, has demonstrated a lifelong commitment to improving the quality of life in Clarksville, Montgomery County, as well as the state of Tennessee through a long and distinguished career in leadership roles at Austin Peay State University, and in her service as a commissioner of the Tennessee Department of Human Services and a Rotary Club member. And whereas at Austin Peay State University, she served as Psychology Department Chairman from 1980 to 87, and later became Acting Graduate Dean, Assistant to the Vice President, Associate Vice President for Planning and Institutional Effectiveness, and Director of the President's Emerging Leaders Program, which is a great program still going on today. Whereas in 1994, Dr. Rudolph was invited by Governor Don Sundquist to serve as State Commissioner of the Tennessee Department of Human Services and to help lead efforts to reform social programs. And whereas Dr. Rudolph has been a faithful and active member of Madison Street United Methodist Church since 1959 and has served in a multitude of roles, including church council chair, teacher of Bible study and Sunday school classes, and was integral in the rebuilding of the church after it was severely damaged by the tornado in 1999. And whereas she is active in the Clarksville Sunrise Rotary Club and has served as president, district governor, Rotary's College of Governors chair, and is a recipient of the Rotary's District Lifetime Achievement Trailblazer Award, and has been honored by Rotary's highest honor, the Rotary International Service Above Self Award. And whereas Dr. Linda B. Rudolph has been selected as Montgomery County's first honoree of the prestigious SAGE Award bestowed by Age Well, Middle Tennessee in October of 2024. Now, therefore, I, Wes Golden, Mayor of Montgomery County, do hereby recognize and honor Dr. Linda B. Rudolph for her commitment and persistent hard work for the benefit of our fellow citizens. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Well, that's it for me. Next we have our Director, Edward Moss.
Thanks, sir. How are you?
Doing very well.
Good afternoon. How are you? Well, we already know, I'm here to talk about the Juvenile Coalition or Youth Coalition, kind of where we are in that process. And what we already know is that we have some wonderful community members that are trying to find ways to help the families and the youth within our community. But what I found out specifically going through the processes was I had to become an educator in the process. I had to be able to educate those community members as it relates to what are the juvenile processes and how it really works within juvenile court. And we've done just that. I can tell this esteemed body, starting in September of this year, we had 50 to 55 members within the community come to Division I, which is Judge Goebel's courtroom, to really have a understanding about how juvenile court really works. Specifically, what he looks for in juvenile court, how to implement those resources in juvenile court, and then they had an opportunity to speak with the judge individually, which I thought was paramount because, again, that's just something that doesn't happen collectively on a day-to-day basis. And then we moved to, in November, Division II, speaking or having a chance to sit with Judge Massey Grimes, as we were Division II. Division III with Judge Massey Grimes in her court. And I can tell you, Judge Massey Grimes does something a little bit different. Judge Massey Grimes will often talk about social work. And she does that for a reason. She really wants to know what resources those agencies put in place, what did the juvenile court put in place already, how do we social work the processes before those families come to the court, what do we do to mitigate some of those circumstances. And then, as we continue to go forward, we're trying to work our way into Division II, which is Judge Poland. The only courtroom that the individuals cannot go into, and that's Division IV, which is Judge Barnes, is due to the severe nature of the circumstances those families are going through at the time. That court isn't open to the community in its totality. The ultimate goal is to having that education for all the community coalition as we go forward. But then in the first or second week in January, have our inaugural coalition, youth coalition going forward. That is going to be the entirety of the process. those individuals will be the ones that we talk to when families are in need of anything. All the hard work that Ms. Moore, Tia Moore, has done within the community is going to bear fruit starting in 2025 as the coalition just goes forward. That's what we're working through as we go right now. There are some conversations as it relates to other processes in juvenile court, but that's the main focus as we see it. And I'll just leave it right there unless there's any questions of me for updates on juvenile resources. So if there's no questions of me, I'd like to yield some of my time, Mayor, please. I want to bring up Judge Goebel. Judge Goebel wants to talk to this body about a very important person to what we do here in juvenile court. He wants to share his story. So I'll stop talking and yield my time to Judge Goebel.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. So as judges, particularly in juvenile court, we rarely get to see positive outcomes because generally speaking, when a youth comes through our court and they do well, they move on with their life. They look forward. We're in their rearview mirror. And so we don't get opportunities very often to see the successes. I had an instance several years ago. I had a motion in my juvenile court to waive cost. And before you say anything, I'm real conservative about when I'm going to waive cost, just in case you're wondering. But this young man came in front of me and he said, "Judge, last time I was in your court, I went through that door. That door is the door where they take them to be detained." He said, "But what you did for me changed my life. How you managed my case changed my life." He said, "I'm graduating from college and I want to go to law school." He said, "But I can't go to law school until I get my record expunged. And I can't get my record expunged until I get the cost paid or waived." So that was very moving to me. For those that know me, I'm an emotional guy anyway. I had to stop what I was doing, get a tissue, and just kind of gather myself. And I waived the cost. Fast forward 3 years later. And in the meantime, we've traded contact information. And we text and call each other every now and then. 3 years later, he graduates from law school. I have a note on my desk where he thanks me, and then at the end of it, he says, "Oh, by the way, when I get done, I'm coming for your job." It's on my desk, and it's never going to leave my desk until I leave my desk. And he reminded me tonight that I'm done with this term in 2030. I don't know what he meant by that exactly. But he's come from Louisiana. He worked in the public defender's office for a while, and now he is clerking for a judge. I know of very few stories of success that will match this, especially coming out of juvenile court. It's my honor to present to you Artrice Prey.
I don't know how I follow that up. Good evening. I'm Artrice Prey. I promise to be as brief as possible, no matter how long it takes. I remember the days that Judge Goebel speaks of. I'm also joined tonight by my mother, Verona Prey, who I want to recognize as someone who made a significant investment in my life. Like Judge said, in this line of work, so rare is it that you get to see the embodiment of an investment that you make down the road. When we talk about juvenile court and the resources that we give our young folks to make better decisions, all too often in this state and many states like it, the solution has been put them on probation, put them in detention, keep kicking the can down the road, eventually it's no longer our problem. And for judges whose dockets are so long, a lot of times it's very easy for them to go with what's easy for them to do. Now, I'll stand here today and tell you that I'm nothing special. When I was a kid, I made some very boneheaded decisions. I was smart. I made really good grades. There were several judges who had managed my case before you, Judge Goebel, and they looked at my grades, and they looked at my extracurricular activities, and they said, oh, probation, whatever. It wasn't until Judge Goebel said, you know what, you can do better. There's a message that needs to get through to you, and I need to be the one to send that message. And he did something that no other judge had done. And I remember the time that I spent in juvenile detention, sitting there thinking, okay, wait a minute now. I want to be a lawyer. I want to go and do things with my life. This can't be my reality. I need to make some different decisions. And that's where that decision-making started, in your courtroom. And if we have more resources that we can give to young folks to not do what's easy, not kick the can down the road, not make it someone else's problem, but really invest in them and invest in their community and invest in their families, maybe, just maybe, 10 years from now, people like me won't be the exception, will be the standard. I'm so happy to be standing here today. I have been able to experience a great many things, and I don't know if I would have been able to do that if the resources, the investments hadn't been made in me. And so I very much support what Director Moss is trying to do here, trying to create this resource center where families can have more resources to help kids and parents make better decisions. And I very much encourage all of you, don't do what's easy. Let's get these funds. Let's build this center. Let's get these resources, and let's get more outcomes like me. Thank you.
Good job recognizing your mama, too. Yeah, we're here to serve others, and there's a lot of great work that gets done here, and I think it's good for all of us to hear some of the great ways that our teams are out there serving our community and meeting the needs. And y'all are doing the same thing, making sure we have the right resources here. Thank y'all. Next, we have a Wings of Liberty Museum update by retired General Brian Winsky.
Okay, I had some slides there, if we could pull those up. Good evening, everyone. As Wes said, my name is Major General retired Brian Winsky. I spent a lot of years at Fort Campbell. I was honored to be the commanding general, and that was my last tour in the Army there from 19 to 21. And really, really enjoyed my time here at Fort Campbell in Montgomery County. And when the opportunity arose to lead the Historical Foundation and build this museum, I jumped on it. As you know, this has been coming soon for about 35 years now. And we're at a juncture here as of about 2 years ago because of your leadership, because of Montgomery County, the city of Clarksville's support, and the incredible grants that they provided along with the state grant, that we are underway, well underway with construction. If you've been by the site on 41A and Tinytown Road, you'll see that what you see in the top right there, if you just go to presentation mode and go to the second slide, what you see in the image, the top right, or is that, I'm talking to myself here, ain't I? All right. You're good. Thanks. There we go. Yep, I got you. Okay, what you see right here is what we're going to have about this time next year. The groundbreaking occurred last June. Work began shortly thereafter, foundation work, underground utility work, etc. The foundation got poured in the August-September timeframe, and then just a couple weeks back, the walls went up on the right portion of the museum that you see in that image there. That's the exhibit hall. It's going to be about 45,000 square feet, about 5 times what we have right now on Fort Campbell. So it's going to be able to accommodate and tell much more the history and legacy of these great units that call Fort Campbell home. The left portion we now have the funding for. That's the atrium. That's going to be the part of the museum that connects the soldiers of Fort Campbell with the public they serve. That's going to be where we conduct our education programs, where we host ceremonies, retirement ceremonies, award ceremonies, things of that nature. And again, what you see right there, we have the resources, and it's underway with the projected roof going on, projected in December timeframe. Then the inside work begins. It should be done this next summer timeframe, July timeframe. And then the work of bringing exhibits in, getting them established, getting them up and operational begins, and we should be open to the public by the end of the year in 2025 next year. Total price, just give you the broad brush strokes of the total price and the cost of this thing. The building itself is going to be a little bit over $20 million, and that's still in a little bit of flux because we just added that atrium. We have, between the grants and then now pledges from significant benefactors, the resources to begin really investing in the exhibits that are going to be the guts of the museum, expanding and including interactive displays, things that are captivating to young people, and we're going to be able to much better convey the history of the 160th Special Ops Aviation Regiment and 5th Special Forces Group. So in addition to the construction costs there of, again, right around 22 million, 23 million or so, about 3.6 million is going to go into those exhibits, the artifacts, the MH-47, that's going to be a centerpiece exhibit inside the museum, and everything that you see listed there, including, again, proliferation of technology, interactives, to make it captivating to young folks that visit. So all told, and we had a federal grant in about the 2008 timeframe, including that, all told, it's going to be about a $34 million project. And again, we have the resources on hand or pledged to make that happen. So that's all very good news. And again, thank you for your leadership in Montgomery County, for your support over the years of $1.5 million, because I'll show you in a second the impact that some of that is going to have. This is from Younger and Associates. So we had an outside look. We didn't do our own analysis on this, an outside look to tell us what we think the economic impact is. And with the baseline assumption of about 250,000 visitors each year, and that's conservative. There's been some estimates up to 300,000. We think it's going to have the impact of 29.1 million, and that chart kind of shows how that is spread out, and that'll largely be in Montgomery County. It's going to be a venue for veterans group reunion type activities. There's a lot of folks that are going to look at that as a destination, and especially if they've ever served at Fort Campbell or in those units that we're going to honor in this museum, they're going to come and visit it. And again, it's going to have a tremendous positive impact on the county. Looking long term, what do we do as a foundation once this thing is built and open to the public? Well, museums have a constant life cycle kind of upgrade. We want to really have robust long-term education programs similar to, and many of you were at the Jack Turner Leadership Lecture Series that we hosted at Vanderbilt in September with a lot of the soldiers from 5th Group 160th that were the first into northern Afghanistan right after the attacks on our nation, 9/11/2001. And then the previous one to that was General Jack Keane, former commanding general of the 101st, retired 4-star general, who kind of overviewed the global security environment. That quality of program is what we want to do about every 6 months or so. And then the educational outreach programs are probably our biggest long-term contribution. Dr. Vetter, Gene Vetter, co-chairs our education committee. Those leadership lecture series are the 2 programs that we've done to date, but we really have plans for robust curriculum development, faculty development, much more than just the standard fall field trip to the cool museum on Fort Campbell. So we anticipate, annual requirements to sustain that at about the 1.5 million, and we'll just do some analysis and continued fundraising to make sure that we're able to cover those costs so we can maintain all of these programs. Bottom line, we're building an awesome museum. It's going to honor the history and legacy of the 5th Special Forces Group, the 160th, the 101st, all the units and soldiers that call Fort Campbell home. As you know, there's about 26,000 soldiers up there, about 44,000 family members, the majority of which live in Montgomery County. And this museum is going to help better connect the soldiers that live on Fort Campbell with the community they serve, and it'll be a tremendous resource for not just the city, the county, the state, but this is going to be a regional, if not broader, destination for a lot of folks. So I blew through that pretty quickly in hopes of being able to have a minute or two if anybody has any questions or anything I should go into a little bit more detail on.
Any questions for General Winsky?
It's all good news. We're on track. We're under budget. We're ahead of schedule. Let's knock on wood that we stay that way. We wouldn't be here were it not for your leadership, were it not for the county, city, and certainly the state's generosity here a couple of years back. And that coming soon is a reality. And it's going to be up, and it'll be up and running about this time next year. And can't wait to host this group at the ribbon cutting.
Commissioner Padre?
Yes.
Help finance the operations?
We haven't, but we'll certainly explore that. We're really staying firm on not absorbing any debt. We're completely debt-free as an organization and the project itself, so we're not going to assume any debt. But we'll certainly explore that as a way for long-term sustainment funding and the inevitable long-term, again, exhibit upgrades, and as new history is made, new exhibits developed, and then we want to have an outdoor park, and we're going to continuously improve this thing, but the base museum is going to be set this time next year, and that's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you all.
We appreciate your leadership, sir. Commissioner Woodruff, would you like to introduce our next guest, sir?
All I can say is that this gentleman has really benefited my district, which is District 13 and District 5. I see the improvement. Without him, I think we'd have more children on the street, kids looking for another place to live in, have been moved from house to house. This gentleman, Rob Soko, has really helped us out, and I've donated and I've benefited from that because I've bought a lot of stuff from him as well. And Clarksville and Nashville, but I do this about here because I support the community here. So here he is, Ron. Go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner. And he meant purchasing from the Restore, not from me personally. So that's the Habitat for Humanity Restore on Madison Street. And I have some slides too. Am I pushing my own buttons? That's odd way of putting it, but you get it, right? Well, thank you. I want to just begin with thanks to each of you. In your own way, every commissioner has helped Habitat for Humanity. I want to just share a quick update and then ask a small favor, if I may. Special thanks to Commissioner Rashida Leverett, whose commitment goes beyond just serving on the Habitat for Humanity board. She also serves as a mentor to Habitat families, helping them navigate the responsibilities of home ownership so they're ready for that house when the keys are presented. So thank you, Rashida. We are most grateful for that. Joe Smith and Jody's Cabinets. Joe's donated so much, I've literally lost count on the number of houses he's put cabinets in, so we're very grateful to you, Joe. Mayor West, you haven't missed a fundraiser since you've taken your oath. I want to say thank you for that. Your presence really matters, and it's a great encouragement, and I thank you for that. And Walker Woodruff, so your trips to Restore not only helped fund our mission, but also led to this invitation to speak tonight. So I thank you. For anyone that's new to our mission, Habitat for Humanity partners with local families, volunteers, and donors to make homeownership possible for people living in low income. Families that qualify work alongside volunteers, while donors provide essential materials and funding. Our home buyers purchase their homes at cost through a zero-interest 20-year loan. Their mortgage payments don't end with them. They go back into building homes for future families. So it's a cycle of giving that grows year after year. This is volunteers that are working on a house that's going up right now, about a mile from here. This is Laura. She's a mother of two. She's part of our next round of builds started or slated for 2025. Laura has already put in over 200 hours of sweat equity. And in this picture, she's helping another Habitat homeowner on her home. And this is what Habitat families do. And I've seen it in the 5 years I've been here. They come together, they build side by side and support one another. And seeing this kind of commitment year after year is a great blessing. This is the Ship family. They're at the build site almost every day, doing whatever needs to be done. This year, they are going to celebrate Christmas in their new Habitat for Humanity home. A Christmas miracle for them and a joy for us who have been on this journey with them for nearly a year. This is Naya with her 3-year-old son, Nazir, and his great-grandmother, Sarah. Naya's story is particularly inspiring because her new home isn't just about a roof over their heads. It's about the life that Nazir is going to grow into. Soon he's going to have a big yard to play in, a quiet space to study, a place to grow. Studies show that homeownership can boost children's graduation rates and chances for college. So imagine Nazir growing up here with all that stability beneath his feet. And this is why we build at Habitat for Humanity. And now we need your help in a unique way. Starting January 27th, we're going to be accepting new homebuyer applications. And as commissioners, you are positioned to reach folks in need across the community. Many of you have built personal connections through the doors you've knocked on and the people that you've helped. This year, Habitat has partnered with a CMCSS schools lunch lady and a school bus driver, everyday heroes, who serve all of us getting our kids to school safely and providing meals to get them through the day. Next year, we're going to be building with the first, hopefully there will be more, but we're going to be building with our first family that lost all their belongings in the December 2023 tornadoes. So they've already got over 100 hours in sweat equity. They're juggling a lot because they're out of their home, they're in a rental property, and they're both sort of rebuilding their lives. But the work of Habitat makes it possible. So I've sent you all a flyer by email earlier today. You can share, post, or print that out. Please take a moment to think of people in your district, someone who might need a stable, affordable home, or know of someone who does. The QR code on the screen there takes you right to the application page. And we also have some trifolds that have been handed out. And if you have anyone that might be interested, that might qualify, you can call me directly and I'll be happy to follow up with people individually. Our applications open January 27th, and on November 20th, we're going to have a get ready class. Buying a home for the first time is really complicated, and for people living in poverty, they might not have a mentor that have shown them what that process is like. So we want to try and make that easy for them. So we have a class where we just explain the whole process to them. They get to meet families who are in the program, meet some of our board members, and get all of their questions answered. So when applications open, they can be ready and gather all the things that are needed. So thank you again for everything you've done and everything I know you will do. together we're building more than just homes. We're building a more caring community. And we do that by working together, and it's good to be with you. Thank you.
Rob, what's your success rate?
I beg your pardon?
What's your success rate?
You mean in terms of families that stay in their homes successfully? It's north of 90%. I'm not sure exactly, but it's very, very few homes go back or fall off the rails, although we're very forgiving on late pays sometimes. So,
Y'all have a great program, and you're doing it right. We appreciate everything you do, sir.
well, we're most grateful for everybody because there's been a lot of volunteer hours are represented here in this commission chambers. So thank you, because it's Habitat is all of us. So thanks so much.
Thank you. All right, moving into resolutions. First, we have AB 5, 2024, resolution approving an abandonment of a portion of right-of-way of Bales Road. Mr. Tindall.
Thank you, Mayor. Be with you in 1 second. All right, there are no zoning cases tonight. County Commission, we do have one abandonment. Abandonments, this was originated by the county highway supervisor. They provided all the details to the planning commission. They reached out to the other departments and the landowners. The planning staff reviewed that and made a recommendation for approval of this abandonment to the Regional Planning Commission. The Regional Planning Commission then held the public hearing last week. There were no speakers for or against, and they also recommend approval of this abandonment. I'm here as well as representatives from the Highway Department if we can help answer any questions.
Any questions or discussion on AB 5, 2024? All right, thank you, sir. Moving on into our resolutions, we have 24-10-1, resolution to urge the Tennessee General Assembly to enact a private act creating additional general sessions and juvenile court Division 5 in Montgomery County. Do we have any questions or discussion on 24-10-1? Commissioner Shelton. Get your butt.
Knowing how well that this position is needed, I can think of at least one application I would like to see when this finally comes down. So I know there are some things that might have to happen, but I believe my friend over here is definitely someone that I would like to see apply when this comes up. So I'll turn it back over to Mr. Moss.
Commissioner Leverett.
Yes, ma'am. I just have a general question for my understanding. I noticed that most of our judges, Mr. Moss, are, their title is General Sessions and Juvenile Court. Do we have a position where any of our judges just serve solely as a juvenile judge and not General Sessions?
Yes, ma'am. I think I'm having a microphone, so I just talk loud. We have 4.
I think, so we're being recorded, though. You'll need to talk in there.
I don't think it works, Mayor. I think maybe it does. Yeah. Yes, ma'am, we do. We have 4. However, Judge Tim Barnes is solely the juvenile court judge.
Okay.
Judge Barnes does not do any other general session matters that Judge Goebel, Judge Massey Grimes, or Judge Poland takes on as well.
Okay, so we do have one solely for juvenile. Okay, all right, I understand now. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
But he still has general sessions jurisdiction.
Sure.
It's my understanding they have the flexibility. They write them up this way so that they do have the flexibility to meet the needs of the county.
Okay,
Yeah.
I understand. Thank you.
So one thing I'd like to just kind of put out there a little bit, you think the last time we had a new division that was brought in was 2014. There's been some general practices, whereas when the population increases upwards of 40,000, they bring in, or there's been a practice of bringing in another judge, and we have an anticipated population of being upwards of 240 at the end of 2024. But again, just some other statistical information I think is really important. From 2020 to 2024, on average, there's 38,467 cases that are seen by 3 juvenile court judges, 4 if you include Judge Barnes in the process. average about 3,200 to 3,500 per month. Now, what does that really mean, and what's the importance of that? So let's just say juvenile court-wise, if we have a family who's going through some very difficult times, the child has a delinquent charge, families have some issues, and it happens in January. Because there's such a backlog, that family could not get in front of a judge or get in front of someone till May time frame. That creates other problems because of the backlog, because of all the docket situations and ramifications that the judges have. So it's very important that we are able to push this forward as we go forward. The good time for it is it's going to be co-located, I believe, with the build out of the court complex. So there was a question as it relates to where is this judge going to go if it is approved. The ADR room is going to be built out to a full courtroom, so that will be a location if this is approved by this body as we go forward. So it's extremely important as we look at the processes to be efficient, to help the court's docket as efficiently as we possibly can, while also helping the families in our community.
Commissioner Simmons.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I did speak with a lot of my constituents about all of these resolutions, but this one right here, a lot of them are very excited about. They love to see that we're being proactive as opposed to being behind and then trying to, do some things. They're very excited about it, so I hope that others agree with some of our constituents.
Thank you.
Commissioner Leverett.
I have a follow-up question, Mayor, but I think it's more so for you than anything. Since we are asking for this Privacy Act from the General Assembly, is this something that we possibly need to put on our legislative agenda?
In the past, I believe this has been more of a standalone resolution. We would discuss this in the committee meeting. I believe it's tomorrow, and how we would discuss this with our representatives.
Okay, thanks.
All right. If there's no other questions or discussions, we'll move on. Commissioner Shelton.
What would be the time frame from this request to a potential time of us voting on it possible?
It would have to go through session at the state level first. So after they enter in session and close out.
It could be as late as May. Okay.
Yes, sir. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moss. Next, we have Resolution 2411-2, resolution to amend the budget of Montgomery County Animal Care and Control for a part-time veterinarian technician. This is one that Dave put on the budget originally, but due to potentially how long it was going to be to hire a veterinarian and all that kind of stuff, pulled it from the agenda and said that he would bring it back once we had somebody in place. And that's what he's doing here. Any other questions or discussion on 2411-2? Seeing none, we'll move on to 2411-3, resolution to approve. What? Commissioner Leverett, go ahead.
I'm sorry, the money was being transferred from where, Mayor? It's saying, the resolution said transferring funds. Is it transferred just from, where's it being transferred? Just general fund?
It's in the veterinary services line for Fort Campbell currently.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, moving on to 2411-3, resolution to approve electronic monitoring at will service agreement. So this is for domestic violence. This is a TCA has required us to do this in order to let somebody out on bond. They have to have now some sort of monitoring service like an ankle monitor and things like that, and they require us to enter into a contract and agreement. The contract is attached to this, and the idea here is that we establish the rules, procedures, those types of things, and multiple vendors can sign up for this based on the contract, and we have started with the RFP process to get this going so that we can meet the law to do what we're supposed to be doing. So this is legislation that's been passed to us to do something with. Commissioner Leverett.
You must have known the question I was going to ask. How was this company selected? Okay, that, I just want to know, how was this specific company selected?
Through the RFP process, but we also don't want to restrict just to one vendor.
Yeah, I read that in the resolution. I was just wondering, did the state require you to go with this vendor, or is this something we did locally and put out the RFP? Or did the state put out the RFP?
We put out the RFP. We couldn't find a lot of people that have already done everything and have everything in place, so we're moving as fast as we can with it.
Yeah, I saw the news.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodruff.
Can this be taken down to the juvenile level as well? Can we use it down there? That's a question I have, because I asked this question about 5 years ago when I was on the Jail and Juvenile Committee, and it kind of got put off, but is that something we can use it down at that level?
We currently already do, but this is something where we're having to follow the state law that's been passed this past year. So this is specific to a state law that's been handed to us. But we already do that in juvenile.
We do?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, this is just for domestic cases. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Burkholder.
Thank you, Mayor. Are we not already doing this with certain folks that we're releasing on bail and for other crimes? Would we not already have we don't do any ankle monitors?
The reason it's before you today is because the law says that we have to enter into a contract.
Right.
And for us to enter into a contract, we have to come talk to y'all.
Okay.
That's the
I'm just
real
curious.
reason it's here.
Okay.
Yeah. Commissioner Jeremiah Walker.
Mr. Mayor, is this the same company, and Mr. Moss may be able to answer this, is this the same company that we're using for ankle monitoring with the juveniles?
No, sir. We utilize ScramNet as it relates to juvenile, the GPS monitoring system, totally different agency in totality.
Okay, well, I guess my question then, because we talked about juvenile monitoring, and I guess I'm looking at the costs, all right, since it's a different company.
Cost doesn't fall on us. It falls on the person getting monitored.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but if they don't pay,
It's not on us.
no way will it be on us. That's what you're telling me.
Correct.
Mayor. When it comes to an adult, a bonding company puts the monitor on, and we do use monitors for repeat DUI offenders. So there are certain things, conditions of bond for repeat DUI offenders have to wear a global monitoring device. But for this particular requirement, the defendant themselves has to pay for it. When they are arrested for aggravated domestic assault, they cannot get out of jail. They might post a bond, but in addition to the bond, they have to have an ankle monitor. And then if the victim so chooses, the victim can require them to also pay for notification to the victim. So they pay a monthly fee, they pay a startup fee, which is almost $500, and then they if the victim requires it, then they pay an extra fee for that. Only aggravated domestic assault.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. Any other questions or discussion? All right, seeing none. Move on to 2411-4, resolution to adopt Montgomery County Committee Preference Form. Do I have any questions or discussion on 2411-4? Commissioner Leverett.
Okay, there we go. All right. When we were first elected, my group, whoever was elected the same time I was, in 2018, when we had our new commissioner orientation, we filled out a form similar to page 23, where it just told us to jot down the committees we wanted to be on. Is this not the same thing, and why do we need a resolution for this now?
Yeah, this came from the Rules Committee. I wasn't at that meeting. It was presented to be done each year. And I know when we came in 22, we did something very, very similar to that. And we tried to put a lot of work into the committees and committee assignments, and also reaching out to the specific departments that are impacted by those committees to get recommendations from those department heads, elected officials as well. But this is something that the Rules Committee came up with as more of a formal process to do this annually through the mayor's office
Okay.
and nominating committee. Commissioner Harper.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a system in place, I believe, at time that serves us pretty well, and it just appears to me to be superfluous to what we're doing already. So, why fix something that's not even broken?
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Bill.
Thank you, Mayor. This is really, all it is a simple form and a simple process for any member of the commission, if you're interested in serving in a committee, to let the nominating committee know. There's not a formal process that I'm aware of in place now to do that. So this is just something that would allow us opportunity, if we so choose, to show interest in committees, to be able to let the nominating committee know, hey, I'm interested in serving on X, Y, and Z committee, and that's it. That's all it is. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or discussion on 2411-4? All right, seeing none. All these items are on the consent agenda. Items in this portion of the agenda are considered to be routine, non-controversial by the county commission and may be approved by one motion. However, a member of the county commission may request that an item be removed for separate consideration. If anybody sees anything that they think should come off, please let me know. Commissioner Gannon?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to take 2411-4 off the consent agenda, please.
Yes, sir. Also on the consent agenda, we have reports for approval. The commission minutes dated October 14th, 2024, the county clerk's report and notary list, and county mayor nominations. On the county mayor nominations, we have our Veteran Service Organization, Randy Heath, nominated to replace Tina England to serve a 4-year term, with term to expire November of 2028. Grace Lord, nominated to replace Rich Holiday to serve a 4-year term, with term to expire November of 2028. Community Correction Advisory Board, Commissioner Jeremiah Walker is nominated to serve an additional 3-year term, with term to expire November of 2027. And Lorinda Taylor, Parole Officer, is nominated to serve an additional 2-year term, with term to expire November of 2026. Moving on to verbal reports. School Board Liaison, Commissioner Nathan Burkholder. Do you have a report for us, sir?
Mayor, the school board met on October 22nd at 6 p.m. and they started with their Point of Pride Awards, recognizing students and schools for outstanding achievements. After that, there was some public comment time, and then they passed the consent agenda, as well as 2 executive limitations. At this point, there was election of officers. Chair of the board was elected, as well as a vice chair. There was also a presentation by the CMCEA and the PET rep. There was comments from the director of schools, talked about the work that was done during the fall break. There was some good work done out at Woodlawn Elementary. I know there were some units there that were needing attention, and they got some serious attention, so I was very thankful for that. And that was it. The next meeting should be this week at 6 p.m. at 621 Gracie Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you for your report, sir. Highway Liaison, Commissioner Joe Smith.
Move that.
The Highway Committee met on Monday, October 28th, 2024. Their next meeting should be Monday, November 25th, 2024. The paving crews have dug out and paved Cunningham Fire Station, milled out and paved North Woodson Road, and milled Hickory Point Road, and will begin paving this week. The right-of-way maintenance is currently in its fifth round north and south of the river. The backhoe crews worked on work orders, potholes on Clarksville-Springfield Road. They're getting the specs for full-depth reclamation on that. They pulled up reflectors on Hickory Point Road, getting that prepped for the pavement upcoming. The bridge crew worked on sidewalks in Phillips Estates and tree pickup. The patch crew tied in driveways and potholes, and they did training with the paving crew to learn the paver. And they also worked on work orders. The sign shop worked on sign and traffic signal maintenance, traffic counts on Hickory Point and North Woodson Road. They striped North Woodson Road and temporary Hickory Point Road sign as well. They also worked on their work orders. Maintenance shop did routine maintenance, working in new CTAS parts inventory system. For the month, 54 work orders were put in, and 45 of those were completed with possible rollovers. As far as the budget, they've used 25% of their budget so far for the year completed. Bridge construction, Salem Road Bridge started on October 7th, 2024, and they applied for the BIP grant. That has been submitted. We do have some open positions, one operator 1, one operator 2, one operator 3, and one traffic signal tech 2. RPC, they sent the couple of abandonments into the zoning request, and you've seen one of those here tonight. New business employees that traveled east to East Tennessee to rebuild roads, they're back home. We appreciate them serving and doing what they need to do for our community that was in need out in East Tennessee. Old business, Mr. Harvey worked on standardized letter of credit form and the speed limit policy. The InterGov training and go live date's going to be November 18th, 2024, and the current projects are Charles Bell Road improvements that's about to go to bid, Dunlop and Rollo Lane intersection improvement, and Palmyra Salt Shed fence and gate, Highway 4813 intersections, Highway 12 at XL Road intersection, XL Road improvement, safety action plans implementation grant, Salem Road box culverts closed down currently, Arkadelphia Road, Greenway, Gerald Ridge Road, they're clearing out, and the new Highway Department building, which has started to go vertical. So appreciate everything the Highway Department's doing. Every month we see more and more getting done by them. Thank you.
Thank you for your report, sir. And I appreciate all of those that went east and helped our fellow Tennesseans out there. We had some from our EMA department, communications, as well as the Highway Department help out. Health Council, Commissioner Jason Knight, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. The Health Council on October 15th had an annual Fight the Flu event at the Health Department. The flu pod was open to the public to provide vaccines from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Health Department also distributed flu vaccines at the Senior Citizen Center as a closed pod. Since the Fight the Flu event fell on the same day as the council's meeting, the council decided to hold a mini resource fair during the event. It was a really good resource fair, which essentially had a lot of resources in reference to helping out with mental health as far as providing resources for that. And the next meeting is November 19th at noon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Airport Liaison, Commissioner Ryan Gallant.
There we go. Thank you, Mayor. So the Airport Authority Committee met on October 23rd and discussed the financial statement for end of year 2024, as well as the first quarter fiscal year 2025 fuel sales. Fuel sales forecast for end of year 2024 is projected at 230,809 gallons of fuel sold. Quarter one of fiscal year 2025 is projected to be upwards of 163,828 gallons of fuel sold. For project updates, the airport layout plan was submitted to the FAA on October 21st and is awaiting a final approval. And as of October 23rd, surface failure repair for runway 35 was 80% complete and is expected to be completed on October 29th, so it should already be completed. The South Apron development has been converted to BIL funding and is awaiting on grant confirmation. The addition of terminal parking lot is currently pending due to waiting on the execution of a contract. The airport administration building is currently on hold, and the relocation of a fuel farm is also currently on hold. And the air traffic operating report has a year-to-date increase of 67.2%, and the next meeting is scheduled for January 22nd, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have reports filed. We have our building codes monthly reports, Clarksville, Montgomery County Regional Airport first quarter FY25 report, Capital Projects quarterly construction update report, notification of Sheriff's Office participation in Presidential Executive Order 14074, and our trustees report. Moving on to our announcements, the Montgomery County Veteran Services will be hosting the annual Veterans Day Parade on November 9th of 2024. Opening ceremony will be at 9 a.m. on the historic courthouse steps right here, with the parade beginning at 10 a.m. This year's theme is a salute to veterans and law enforcement. Please remember to exercise your right to vote tomorrow, November 5th. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. here in Montgomery County. Also, I'd like to introduce our new communications director, Michelle Huffmeyer, sitting right over here. Welcome, Michelle. And tomorrow is Commissioner Jeremiah Walker's birthday. If you see him walking around, tell him happy birthday. Hold him strong. Just a reminder that formal will be on Tuesday, 11/12, because the county will be closed on Veterans Day. And if nobody has anything else for the good of the organization, Commissioner Leverett.
You're not going to acknowledge the commissioners that are veterans? You don't want us to stand up and wave?
Absolutely. So if you are a veteran, please stand up. And if you don't mind, come down front afterwards for a picture. Oh, yeah, you got your good side on. Commissioner Joe Smith.
Well, let everybody know you're cordially invited if you want to join us. We're having our Marine Corps birthday celebration November 10th, 2024 from 5 to 9 p.m. at 3109 Highway 41A South out in Sango. I've got a flyer for it if you'd like. Come on out. We'd love to have you in our event. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Nobody has anything else, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank y'all.